Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are going to demonstrate how to do an expense requisition on elite policy insurance suite. To do an expense requisition, you have to click on the expense module. I'll go ahead and click on the module. This will open a view on the expense module, which normally will display all the expenses which the user have created but have not submitted yet. Right? So currently there are none on this view because I do not have an outstanding expense that needs to be submitted. So to create a new expense, I'll go ahead and click on the create button. This will open a form view where I will input the expense details. In the first field, the description field, I will describe the expense. So I'm going to use purchase of external keyboard. Right. On the product field, we're going to select the appropriate product for this type of expense. Normally, this would have been submitted, we would have received this expense chart of account from your company at Bitlet Technologies, which would have configured for you as a user to just select the correct product for these expenses. For expenses such as external keyboard, will be linked to computer equipment products. Depends on how the company's chart of account is configured. Right. So then on the unit price field, I will input the amount, the price for this product. So let's say the price is 10,000. On the quantity field, they will describe the or input the quantity you purchased. So let's say we purchased 2 units of external keyboard. The system will then automatically calculate the total amount for the product. On the taxes field, if there are withholding tax, if there are taxes that applies like withholding tax or VAT, you will see them and select here. Then it will apply on the total amount. Let's, for instance, choose withholding tax, 5%. You can see that it's being applied on the total amount, therefore making the total amount 21,000. So currently, let's just say it wasn't applied. So let's remove that. Okay. On the bill reference field, you input the receipt number from the purchase, right? The receipt you received from the customer or the shop you bought those items. Right. The expense date is automatically imputed as the day you are creating the expense or the day you bought the item. You input it here. So let's say we bought the item yesterday, 14th. Okay. Right. The company is automatically populated. The employee field normally is automatically populated with the name of the employee that is logged in and creating this expense. You can see it's showing administrator because I'm logged in as an administrator. The vendor field is not a required field. If the vendor details is on the system, you can select, but if you do not have it on the system, you can ignore and continue, including the bank account of the vendor. So these are automatically populated if the vendor already exists on the system, but in this case, it doesn't exist, so we can leave these fields. If there is a tax identification number for this vendor, you can input. If it's not, you don't have that, you leave the field as empty. Employee expense, you leave it as employee expense. If there are other notes, regarding this expense, you write them down there. So once you have done all this, you go ahead and save. So merely you save, these buttons will be visible to you. Right. For you to proceed, you click on the attach receipt. This is where you attach the receipt that that's for this expense, right? The receipt you received from making this purchase. This is where you attach it. For instance, I'm going to select this as a receipt. Right, you can see here now we have one receipt attached. So if there are more than one receipts, you attach them on this place. So once you have done the attachment, you go ahead and click on create report. That will bring you to this interface. So this is where you will then select your manager, your line manager, your superior that will approve this expense. Automatically it will be populated based on the your employee details configuration on the system. But if it is not, you can always choose your manager on this field. Once you have done that, all you need to do is then click on submit to manager. So once you have submitted to the manager, that is all you need to do as the employee that is creating this expense. That is it for your part. So let's go back. So as an employee of the company, you have created this expense and submitted to your manager. Now, for your manager to approve this on his own view, right, the manager will then go ahead and open the expense model. Once the expense model is open on the manager side, he can click on these expense reports. On his view, he will see all the expenses that are submitted to him. Once you click on the submitted, all the expenses that requires his authorization, if all the expenses that you know that needs to be posted and paid. So I'm seeing all of this because I'm an admin, but your manager will only be able to see all those reports that are submitted or that are being sent to him. That is only what he will see, right? So let's say that this I want to approve this report that was submitted to me, this requisition, expense requisition that was submitted to me as a manager. Once I click on that submitted menu, sub menu there, this field will be open. Then I will see all the pending expense requisitions that were submitted that needs my attention. So I can open this. You can see this is the one that I just created, purchase of keyboard. I'll open it. So on this view, I will see all the details pertaining this expense. You can see the attachment. I can view the attachment that's linked to this expense. I'll click on it and click on this download. The receipts will be downloaded. Then I can go ahead and view the attached receipt. Also, I can access the receipt from this documents button here. You click on it. You click on this and download it again. Download it to view the attached receipt. So once you're satisfied with the expense, and everything that's attached, right? You are satisfied with the amounts and everything. You can then go ahead, click on edit button. You select who will authorize this. You as a line manager, you select the authorizer or the auditor, that this goes to. So the names of all those that are supposed to authorize this type of expense will be displayed in this authorizer field. So you will choose. So once again, as an admin, I will be able to finish this process from beginning to end as I have all the necessary rights to do so. But in real life, you only see these buttons based on your access, role. Then as the line manager, I will then go ahead, select the authorizer, and click on submit for authorization. Right. So the authorizer, bear in mind that all these all these processes, triggers an email notification to the appropriate approver, right? When the employee created the expense and submitted it to his or her line manager, the line manager should receive an email notification prompting them that there's an expense and requires their attention. So they will receive that email and then come to the system and approve the expense and submit it to the next in line. So now the authorizer will receive also an email notification prompting them, regarding this expense requisition. Then they will cross-check it as usual, download the attached receipts, view the details of the expenses, the amount, if there are taxes, quantity, and unit price, then the description and every other details. And then once they are satisfied, they will click on the next person to approve this. Maybe the limit approval, if there is a limit on the amount some people can approve, then they will choose the next approver and submit to them. They will click on authorize, input their SID and submit. Also, the next person in line, will also receive an email. Then they too will come to the system. This needs to be on reports to approve. They will see the expense requisition, click on it, and Once they are satisfied with all the information, right, they'll click on approve. Right. This will also need to be finally approved by the approver, right? So you then go ahead, click on final approve, input their SID, right, and then post to journal entries. Right, that is it. From the final approval. That's all they need to do. So the rest will need to be done by the accounting unit. On their interface, to go ahead and register the payment for this expense. So that's it for expense requisition. Next, let's go to the accounting model so that the accountants. So for the accountant to successfully register payment for this employee expense, they will have to open the accounting model. Once they open the accounting module, under the vendors menu, they will find the employee expense submenu and click on it. So this will open the view for all the expenses that has been finally approved that needs to be paid. Right. So you can see the expense that we just created, case of external keyboard. So I'll go ahead and open it. So as an accountant, we can still, uh, check out all the details of the expense. You know, the documents attached to it, like the receipt and stuff, download it if we need to, and cross-check all the details. So once we are satisfied, we can go ahead and register payment. So to do that, you click on the register payment button, which will open up this wizard. So on this wizard, you select, the journal, the payment type, recipient accounts, if you have the information. If not, we can actually continue with other. We provide the bank narration. So on the gross net field, we will provide, if we're paying the complete money, we'll select gross, which is what we are doing, right? So I'll go ahead and click on create payment. Right. That successfully registers this employee expense as paid. So this officially completes the whole expense requisition process on Elite Policy. Thank you for watching. If your company is making use of Elite Policy, make sure to subscribe, as I'll be posting other videos for other processes on Elite Policy. Thank you for subscribing.